Without a shadow of a doubt, the single biggest weight loss mistake that I see vegans and plant-based dieters make is this: confusing healthy eating with eating for weight loss. And sometimes they lose that first 5 to 10 pounds simply by being more health conscious, by removing or at least significantly reducing the animal products. Hopefully too, cutting out lots of the highly processed junk foods from their diet, and maybe making some very sensible but simple beginner switches, such as replacing that afternoon snack sweet treat that they enjoyed in the lull of the working day at 3 p.m. for something like fresh fruit or nuts and seeds, a handful of trail mix. Just generally speaking, making inroads towards a far more healthy, whole foods focused diet. And lo and behold, their prayers are rightly answered, and they look at the scale 3 weeks in, they're 10 pounds down. It's the most exciting feeling if you resonate. And maybe better yet, it's the first time in years that they've actually tried something that actually feels semi-sustainable. I'm not going to get carried away. I'm still having some cravings. I ate potato chips last night and I had the vegan burger in the restaurant last weekend when I really should have had the salad option. But wow, this actually feels, for the first time in a long time, like something I could really live with. And so you're met with this amazing, if you've been there, this breakthrough, this epiphany. I feel so clear. This is really working. I'm getting results, and it actually doesn't feel that hard compared to all the extreme dieting nonsense I've tried in the past to actually stick to, right? It's liberating. It feels awesome. And then all of a sudden, you get to day 25 and something changes. Boom! That first dreaded plateau arrives. And you know what this feels like because you've been there before with other diets. Or if you haven't, you've certainly heard about plateaus and weight stalls. And oh no, oh my goodness, my body is stuck. What's gone wrong? And again, if you resonate with any of this, at this point you are understandably confused, frustrated, left scratching your head thinking, what's gone wrong here? I'm actually even eating healthier now on day 25 than I was on day 1 when I was just getting started, right? I was a newbie to this. I was making all kinds of mistakes. My diet's even cleaner now. I was losing weight back then. What on earth has happened? Understandably confused. And again, if you do resonate, this is where I was 10 years ago. I lost that initial 25 pounds after going plant-based. It's quite a generous little run I had, a little bit of momentum when I first started my plant-based experiment. But then all of a sudden, bang, I had this crazy 2-week plateau where the weight didn't move. And I was calm at first and I was thankful for how much I'd lost. But by the end of week 2, I'm going spare. I'm going out of my mind thinking, but what? I'm literally eating the same diet from day 1. I don't understand what's gone wrong here. Well, the big realization for me, and that lots of other plant-based dieters have when they finally get over this hurdle, is not a profound epiphany, it's not a profound realization, but it's one that you overlook when you're getting results, because when you're getting results, you don't do that much analysis. Why would you? Everything is working. You don't need to look that deeply. But the epiphany for me was this. I promise, it's not a profound one. Calories and portions still matter. I know. The big insight here, what I realized looking back at my journey, and now of course coaching 600 men and women through this process since 2019, when you start your weight loss journey, when you have a drastic change in your diet from poor foods to lots of healthy foods, when you have maybe 50, whether it's 30, whether it's 15, when you have some weight to lose and you're just getting started, the initial leeway, the initial wiggle room that you get to lose weight without having to think about portions and calories that much is tremendous. And it's a great thing. It's beautiful, actually. It's a massive advantage because you don't want to be overwhelmed by this prospect of portion sizes and macronutrient pairing and how much protein, fiber, what should I pair here? And you don't want to think about calorie density and high volume vegetables to dilute some of the calories in your meal. You don't want to have to think about all of this stuff. Just let me eat healthy and the weight comes off. And you get the breathing room to do that when you're a beginner, when you have a decent amount of weight to lose. But the reason why is not an accident and it's not pure fluke. It's just because at that point, the amount of calories you can eat and still lose weight at your current weight starting point is far more generous than when you've lost 10 pounds later on. And so what often happens here is that people's calorie intake stays the same, but by the time day 25 comes, they've lost such an amount of weight that the amount of calories their body actually needs has quite significantly reduced, maybe to nil or dead on that number of calories that they're now consuming. Not to get lost in the numbers here, because that might be, what I've said there might be marginally hard to follow, but the insight here being calories always matter. It's not suddenly now that you've hit the plateau that calories matter. Calories always matter. But when you're a beginner with weight loss, when you come through a period of drastic diet change, it's so easy to drop your calories quite significantly without ever having to think about it, without ever having to be conscious about it. But this is what it takes to get to the next level. It is not necessarily counting your calories every day. That's not the solution I pitch. But today, all I wish to share is this massive insight that no, the portions and the calories still matter, and eating healthy is not always, it might be on day 1, week 1, week 2, 3, but eating healthy is not always enough to ensure that you're in that all-important calorie deficit. And I know calories and portions, they are taboo in the plant-based space, and you may well have wrongly, sadly, heard that you can eat as much as you want as long as it's plants. Unlimited portions, go back for seconds, it's all healthy food, right? This doesn't feel as devious, it doesn't feel as naughty, as reckless as when you're overeating on rich, indulgent processed foods and animal products, where it quite obviously feels like, hey, this probably is a bit too much food for me. When you're eating healthy whole plant foods, there's kind of a label of innocence in your mind to overeating. In fact, you might not even recognize it as overeating. But this is what happens over time. As you lose weight, the body requires fewer and fewer calories, energy, in other words, to keep it powering, to keep it moving, simply because you're a smaller entity. This isn't some big mystery. This is basic physiology here. The body requires less and less calories as you go through the weight loss process. There are some caveats to this, such as if your exercise increases quite significantly, that can increase your metabolic rate again, but that's for a different video. Let's not make this one too complex here. The point I wish to make is this. Yes, you might be eating healthy. Yes, you might be eating plant-based. But if you're eating 3 cups of rice with lunch, if you're snacking on cashew nuts between meals, heck, even if you're not doing those things, even if you believe, hey, I'm eating very reasonably portion-sized here, I'm only eating when I'm hungry, it might still be that you're simply eating too many calories to get that scale moving. And this, for me, was the big epiphany or realization, or I should say, re-realization. I understood calories 10 years ago. I had 18 months of tracking my calories every single day. I knew this. But this is the trick. When you're getting results, you don't analyze anything. You don't think, oh, I wonder if I'm eating too many calories. Well, the scale's moving. I don't even need to think about it, right? And it makes you complacent and it makes you relaxed to really what is the big driver of weight loss success. This calorie energy balance issue that is, sadly, and I think incorrectly, swept under the rug in the plant-based space. That's the realization I wish to leave you with today. That's the big insight here. Calories and portions still count, and if the scale has stopped moving for you, it's not a big mystery. It's not because you're eating too many carbs or all the sugar in fruit that your keto buddies warned you about is now stopping you from losing weight. No, it is simply a calorie issue. And what you need at a certain point after that initial drop to keep the weight loss going and ultimately get to your dream healthy body weight range and actually stay there. This is important for staying there as well, not just losing the weight and then rebounding like you did the last 10 diet attempts. To actually stay there, what you need to really deeply understand here and apply actually is a structure for eating an appropriate amount of calories for you. That doesn't mean you have to count your calories every single day, but you need a structure for eating that puts you at the roughly, you don't have to be perfect every single day of your life, but roughly puts you at the right calorie amount for you, instead of this slightly random, slightly complacent, I'll just eat plants, I'll just eat healthy, and I'll see where that takes me. You can lose the first 5 or 10 pounds doing this, you will plateau, you've probably realized this yourself, I did the hard way, and then it's, okay, I need to understand portions and calories still matter. So that's the big insight I wish to leave you with today. If you want this done properly, if you want my help implementing all of this, and you're done just eating healthy and hoping that will, fingers crossed, hoping that will get you to your ideal healthy body weight range. If you realized actually, yeah, I need something that's far more structured, far more precise in terms of calories and portions, okay, I might need a bit of help with that. This is exactly what I do with my clients inside Vegan, Slim and Sustain. So you can apply to join my program. I'll put the link to learn more about that down below. See you in the next video.